customers at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com receive $25 in WagerBucks after your first initial purchase. All you have to do is sign up, make your purchase, and you'll get $25 in credit.
It is Friday, guys. Welcome in another edition of the College Basketball Tip-Off Show powered by WagerTalk.com. I am Joe Raineri, and we are loaded today on the show. We got 3 games today and 1 tomorrow. Of course, the big one tomorrow being Baylor and Texas Tech. We're going to break that game down for you. We're also going to talk tonight Big Ten, Wisconsin, Rutgers. We're going to talk Marshall, Western Kentucky. Louisiana, we're going to talk about that at UT-Arlington. And for just craps and giggles there, we're going to go ahead, throw a few bets out there for you, talk a little gold sheet. But let's talk about the gentlemen we've got on this show here today. A lot of familiar faces to you. Tony Mejia back in action, as is Dave Koken and Ralph Michael. So let me start with you, Tony. Thank you very much for taking the time. I know you've been busy all week here, but how has your week been with college hoops, and what, if anything, you got going on tonight? I know you were feverishly typing away there and working on some stuff here just before we went on air.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really enjoying the fact that we have a lot of action on Friday. It used to just be the Ivies and an occasional MAAC game, but now everybody's playing, even big conference, small conferences. So it gives you more to do, kind of spaces out the Friday, Saturday, Sunday schedule. Working feverishly. I'm on Hofstra, making a little bit of a comeback against depleted Delaware. So they got themselves behind, but at the break, I think they're down 1. And picks all day. I'm on an 18-8 run, which is mostly powered by an 11-3 Wednesday. Did okay yesterday. Finished strong with BYU over St. Mary's and the over in what was that game? The last game of the night at Oregon State.
Yep, Oregon State.
And they didn't score for like the first 7 minutes. Game still went over against Arizona, so I was fortunate there. Totals have been going well, and again, this is the time of year, especially in this COVID season, where teams finally have their act together in terms of practices and some momentum built. So we know who these teams are now. Now it's just a matter of seeing results materialize on the court.
Absolutely. It's well said there. And Dave, congratulations, my friend. Another best bet winner last night in college basketball. Still on fire. Still have the opportunity to hop on that 10-day all-access pass with Dave here. It expires on Sunday, so get all access with Dave right now for $68. Use that code Legend68 at checkout. What else you got going on, Dave, here as we head into the weekend?
Well, I've got an NFL best bet that I just posted a couple hours ago. College basketball best bet for tonight. 10-1 on those. The last 11. Tennessee State was wire to wire last night. And that's all I have. I don't have any hockey up today. I don't think I'm going to play anything in the NHL tonight. But whatever I've got, you'll get with that all-access pass.
All right, guys, it's worth hopping on. And Ralph, also, I know yesterday here on the show, you talked a little Montana State there, or Northern Arizona, rather, taking on Montana. That was a winner. So what you got going on as we head into this weekend?
You know, that 300 club is an exclusive club now. I just want you guys to know. So what's the 300 club? It's the best bet that I use from Ken Palm teams that are 300 or higher. So stay tuned. I do have another one today. It's been a kiss my sister week, man. It's been. I don't have a sister, so I could actually say that. One in one day and another 1 point loss. So I could say this: there's a lot of value. I'm gonna duplicate what Tony said. These Friday cards are closer to Wednesday and almost Saturday like. So basically, I've decided just to not rush it out. I have one early game up now. I'm going to post all of my plays for $25 today. I'm probably going to have 3 or 4, so you get them all. And after we finish this show, I'm going to continue working on the cards. So don't even know what I have for today. I'm only halfway through the cards, so excited to get back to it and finish it off.
All right.
I think I know. I think I have a good idea of who your outside the top 300 play is tonight.
Oh,
You probably do, Dave, because it does fit that pattern that we've talked about on the show to the 10th degree. So,
all right. Well, don't tease it up. We'll go to Dave first when we get the best bets. We'll see what he thinks first, and then we'll go from there. Let's look a little bit here before we dive into these games at some of the past performances last night. It was a good card last night. It was an interesting card, to say the least. So we'll go ahead and throw up the performers from last night. And Ralph, you talked about that Oregon State game there, Tony. Hampton, your USC upstate. Anything stick out to you last night, Ralph, among the games that we had?
Yeah, well, seeing Mathurin put up 31 points and 8 rebounds. I mean, that's Arizona needed another go-to scorer. So, they found it there. And Trin Flowers from Long Island, I can say that I've not heard your name before. So I'm learning those names. So we'll continue to progress.
Not for nothing. Turn Flowers just texted in, says you got some nerve, but that's all right. We apologize. We'll make it up to you as we move along here. Let's look at some of the covers and the biggest upsets from last night as well, and some of the games that stuck out. Yeah, thanks, St. Francis and Bryant there. Went over by, that was actually a pretty good cover there. St. Francis, I didn't think they were going to make it to 60. They certainly made it to 60 there, but Tony, on this card, did you have anything in play there?
I did. I had. I was telling you off air. Like I'm sitting there in games that I need. I'll walk around. I'll build it, pick up the stream, and I'll walk around and pace, watching it on a tablet. So that game extension in St. Francis, the Red Flash against Bryant, was more than welcome, considering I had the over 160-ish, and they really got there with like 20 points in the final minute and a half or so. I didn't quite get there in the Samford game, too many missed free throws. But yeah, I mean, right now teams are not going to let games go if they can help it, and especially a team like Bryant that thinks they can come back on anybody. So that was a little bit of an upset. Florida Atlantic lost, actually beat Florida International. God, that court at FIU is ghastly with the water on the side and the palm tree. I picked FIU. I don't think I'm going to pick against them at home anymore, just out of general principle from that home court.
And, of course, the biggest overs, unders from last night. We'll take a look at what we had from a points perspective here. And at the top there, we've got ourselves USC and Washington way over there, Ralph, in that game last night. And the Indiana-Purdue game, same situation, also way over from what the bookmakers thought it was going to be there. Any surprises there?
No, but I'm going to steal a line from Mr. Dave Koken. Washington just sucks.
Yes, that's awesome. And, not for nothing, we talked about that Utah State-San Diego State game yesterday, Dave, and that one, I think that was a season low there, certainly for San Diego State in the second half, and Utah State. Wow, look at 57-45.
Utah State really clamped down. That was a very impressive game by them last night. I had said yesterday that I might just automatically knee-jerk to the loser of the first game in the rematch. Not so sure I'm going to do that. Utah State just looks like a better team than San Diego State right now.
Yeah, they actually they do. Learned a little bit something about them last night. All right, let's take a look at our first game up on the board here today, guys. We're going to go to the Big Ten, but I do want to remind you that right now, while you still can, take advantage of the 30-day all-access package right now for Tony Mejia, Ralph Michaels, of course, Dave Koken. 30 days, $199 will get you every college basketball play and NBA play. Anything basketball from these three gentlemen right now. $199, get 30 days all access. Good stuff there. Let's take a look here, guys, at tonight's Big Ten matchup. Wisconsin taking on Rutgers, and this game opens up with the Badgers, a 2-point favorite there, but total 135. It doesn't look like it's moved all that much here, but Tony Mejia, let me start with you here, my friend. Dare I say both of these teams need a win here at this point in this game? Which way are you leaning?
Yeah, the Badgers were humbled, obviously, in Ann Arbor. Rutgers got beat at Michigan State pretty badly and is on one of those runs where they're not trusting themselves offensively. But you know what's interesting is Wisconsin has not won at the rack since Rutgers joined the Big Ten, which is wild considering Rutgers hasn't been good until just recently. And the Badgers are obviously year in and year out one of the Big Ten's top teams. But Micah Potter, you can see him game in, game out, pouting on the sideline, whether he's in foul trouble or doing something stupid offensively. And Brad Davison, who is one of the more reliable shooters, is in a 12 for 41 shooting slump. So to me, I don't trust either of these teams to score. Obviously, Rutgers has their issues at the free throw line. Hopefully they get back freshman Cliff Omoruyi, who you probably have seen him on the bench, really head in his hands, knowing that he could help out there. It's too much pressure on Miles Johnson. If he doesn't go, he's been dealing with a knee issue. So I'd love to see him out there. I think if he plays, Rutgers has a real shot to win the game outright. But the play here is definitely on the under. Even if it goes over, the right play is the under, especially with the total not moving. Just two between the pack line from Wisconsin and the Rutgers issues shooting the ball. Too many variables to go over in this one.
Yeah,
hey, Joe, I want to, excuse me one second. I know Dave doesn't do total, so I want to ask you, Tony, because I've been looking at it more. You talked about how teams are fouling earlier and more often, and we're having those second halves. Have you changed your philosophy, perhaps betting first half totals when you have these unders versus full games?
Depends on the personality of the team. Like, for instance, Utah State yesterday, they've been great in the first half. I don't think they've lost a game since leading at the break. And so it really crossed my mind to touch them against San Diego State, especially since the Aztecs have mostly played home games, to go under and to go Utah State in that first half. Two missed opportunities because I didn't touch it. But yeah, absolutely. I think Ralph, it's based on the personalities that these teams have shown you to date and what you can project going forward, at least to start games.
Been a struggle, Dave, to say the least, a little bit here for the Scarlet Knights. And coming off that loss, Wisconsin, who do you give the edge to in this matchup?
Well, look, my tendency has always been to look at very good teams or very bad games. They're very good teams for a reason. And Wisconsin fits on that. That was an embarrassment the other night. I mean, they could have lost that game by 50. At one stretch, they got outscored 51-9. I think you're going to see a real pride effort by Wisconsin here. Trice talked about it after the game. The coach talked about it after the game. They're going to be ready tonight. Also, I think this is a little plus. They flew out on Wednesday. So they've been there for a couple of days to get settled. It makes it less of a road game to me. I think Wisconsin will bounce back. Rutgers has a really bad stat profile over the last few games. They're not just losing games. They're playing really lousy basketball. Maybe they get the big kid back tonight, but don't know how close to 100% he is and whether he actually is going to play or not. I would give the edge to Wisconsin in this one.
Wisconsin. How about you, Ralph? Bounce back situation here. When Rutgers is on, looks amazing. But what do you think happens here tonight in this one?
Yeah, but they haven't been on for a long time. I mean, you look at their offense the last three games, 43.7, 30.5. Yeah, that's 30.5% against Michigan State. And then 43% back at home against Ohio State. I like Wisconsin here. I like that I'm going to expand a little bit on what Dave said. They flew right from Michigan to New Jersey. They did not even go home. I like those building trips. It gives them a few days in a hotel. It gives them a few days without distractions. There are no other kids. Their family's not around. You know, they're doing their homeworks and all they're doing is talking basketball. I think that really helps a team like this that just needs a kick in the ass to turn things around. So, you know, you're off the second biggest loss of guards' career. You're off back-to-back. You failed to cover 3 of your last 4. The only winning cover was Minnesota game. And that was a revenge situation. So there was motivation there that they came back. I think this team, by far the better team, in a situation that where they expand. This is one of my top plays for the day. I haven't finalized my card, but it will likely be a client's play.
All right, good stuff there. Let's head over to Conference USA if we can. We'll take a look at the Hilltoppers here tonight, looking to take on Marshall and the Thundering Herd. And Marshall actually right now, I think 3 out of their last 4 They have won. They opened up Conference USA play with a loss to Louisiana Tech here. And we've talked about this. And Ralph, I'll go back to you because we've talked about this Hilltoppers team, which you've had some nice things to say about them. They're a 2.5-point favorite in this one. Total opens up at 150. How do you have them ranked here, these two teams?
Well, they're clearly they're the best two teams in CUSA. So, that's why they're on our card today. And that's why, they're on CBS Sports Network. Here's an interesting thing, though. I mean, the coaches are friends, Stansbury and Antonio. And this game was supposed to be last night. But Marshall was coming off COVID. Marshall hasn't played since January 2nd. Yep. They were just released from COVID yesterday. So D'Antonio calls Stansbury and says, hey, we won't even have a walkthrough. Can we move it back one day? And Western Kentucky actually did that. So, hell of sportsmanship for Western Kentucky. Or if they lose this game, pretty freaking stupid by Western Kentucky. So, 2 stars, Kinsey and Bassey, 1 for each team. I like Western Kentucky here, and I like it's tough for Marshall to be that fast-paced. You haven't practiced, and you're a team that's number 10 in the country in tempo on offense. You shoot the 10th quickest, and you haven't played a game in 13 days and haven't practiced. It's tough for me to think Marshall's going to be able to play their game the way they want to play it, coming off the COVID situation. Western Kentucky, a team that, has played very poorly. I would normally be on Western Kentucky in this situation, but they were down double digits against Charlotte, won by 2, a game they should have won easily. The next game, they lose in overtime. They were down against La Tech. They only win by 2. Then they were down by 20 against La Tech in the 4th game. So while I have Western Kentucky still power rated higher, you look at the last 4 games, and Western Kentucky's played as poor as anyone. So Western Kentucky, to me, fits the bill as far as situation goes, but current form of play keeps me off of it. I look for a lower scoring first half. I think Marshall's got to get to their pace.
It's been a hard thing all season long, Dave, to, the rust factor, the not being on the court. Now, it's been a hard thing to handicap all season long. The money continues to roll in on Western Kentucky here. Do you trust them enough in this spot?
No. No, I think Marshall's the better team. I quite frankly thought Western Kentucky was overrated from the get-go. I mean, this team was getting some rave reviews early in the season. It's like, they're okay, but they're not that good. Neither is Marshall, for that matter. Conference USA stinks. Okay, it's not as bad as in basketball as it is in football. I mean, you saw how bad it was in football. Crushed the conference all year long, and then they went out when I think they went 0-6 in bowl games. It's not much better in basketball from this standpoint. Whoever gets into the NCAA tournament out of Conference USA, and they'll only get 1 team, can almost guarantee I'll be going against them because they'll probably get a little overrated. If Marshall wasn't off a long layoff, I'd be on him here. They just statistically match up pretty well with Western Kentucky, and they're the better team on those stat matchups. But it really is difficult to gauge what a team's going to do coming off the long layoffs. So I just have a tendency to stay away from these games. So I guess you can call it a mild lean to Marshall, but definitely not a play for me.
Tony, the number interesting total opens up 150, 150 and a half. I'm seeing 152 and a half here. Not like we're going to get a lot of points out of Western Kentucky. At least we haven't. So where do you lean in this game?
I'm leaning towards Western Kentucky, but it's an asterisk regarding Charles Bassey. I mean, if he stays out of foul trouble, I don't see the Hilltoppers losing this game. He's going to be dominant inside the paint on both ends of the floor, and he runs the floor well. So I don't see him being run out of this game because Marshall wants to get up and down. And the 2-week hiatus for the Thundering Herd does scare me. The fact that they have to gang rebound against one of the nation's premier in post players is also an issue. The fact that this game is at Western Kentucky, where freshman Davian McKnight can feel more comfortable, and he looks like a special player by CUSA standards. Good matchup at the point. Tavian Hollingsworth against Jared West. West is among the national stat leaders in steals, so turnover should be a factor in this one. I think down the stretch, I'd favor the Hilltoppers at home, so it's a short line. That's probably where I'd lean. Total-wise, I think it's going to depend on turnovers and how well Marshall shoots the ball. So I'll probably stay away from that, but my lean would be towards Western Kentucky.
All right, good stuff here, guys. We'll get to this UT game here in just a second. Want to remind you, of course, that Dave's got his birthday special. It's winding down. Sunday would be the last opportunity for you to grab right now. 10 days all access. Every play he posts heading into, of course, the NFL wildcard weekend. Golf's going. There's a lot of opportunities for you to profit with Dave right now for $68, the all access pass. Use Legend 68 at checkout. Get 10 days all access with Dave for just $68. All right, guys. Let's talk.
Joe, sorry, but I just want to mention one more thing about this game. We are so used to seeing back-to-backs. Mm-hmm. These two play again Sunday, but it's in Marshall. If this is a close game and Marshall starts getting their legs in the second half and Western Kentucky plays again poorly for the fifth straight game, I certainly have Marshall circled in that Sunday game back at home.
Yep, going to be interesting how they come out, certainly in the first half in this game. Talk to me about UT-Arlington here, Dave, in this game against the Raging Cajuns. Interestingly enough, you got UT-Arlington. They're a 500 team, but they've won 4 out of their, I believe, first 5 home games. So they have been pretty good at home. They're laying 5, 146.5. How do you have these two teams lined up tonight?
I didn't come up with much in this game. Saw it on the schedule, and it's like, oh boy. Like when I went through the games last night, this was one of the quick cross-outs for me. This looks like a toss-up, complete toss-up to me. I don't think there's anything to separate these two teams. So whoever has a better night is going to win the game. If I had to pick somebody, I guess I'd go with Louisiana because I just have found Arlington to be maddeningly inconsistent over the past couple of years. Every time it looks like there's a buy sign on them, they go the other direction. They have played well at home so far. They lost their first game, and that was to Oklahoma State, and actually were pretty good in that game. They've only had 3 home games since then, none of them in conference. Their 4 conference games have all been on the road. So that's something that might be a little bit favorable to them. But again, I just don't trust the team. I think maybe a little bit. I think Louisiana might be slightly the better basketball team, but this is a real big stay away from me. I don't have any idea. So anybody, if I tried to give you a good opinion on this game, it'd be complete bullshit.
Ralph, let me go to you here because I think this is the first true road game, is it not for Louisiana? So might they be uncomfortable in this spot with a team that likes to play at home?
They've only played one road game, Joe, and that was in the state. They played at New Orleans on December 2nd. And this is Arlington's first home game since December 22nd. Listen, Arlington feels like they're getting the back end of the horse here because this is the second straight year. They're the only team in the Sun Belt that played each of their first 4 conference games on the road each of the last 2 years. And they had to play their first 2 conference games against the best team in the conference, Little Rock, on the road. Now they're back at home. Now they finally can have some continuity. Yeah, they did get back-to-back wins against Monroe. I was on them the first because, I talked about how upset they were and how fired up they were to play those 4 games. I think it's a big home road dichotomy. Certainly a lean. I haven't had check mark to possibly make my card as well. I've not gone in and done the Arlington reading from the local papers, but, I look at them and they have both teams are up tempo. I think that's going to help Arlington and this home team. But Arlington is the stat I pulled out. ULL is number 314 in turnovers. They turn over the ball a lot. UTA is number 37 in the country in forcing turnovers. Those are the kind of teams I want at home.
Good stuff. Tony Mejia opens up at 146.5. It's holding strong there. Might it turn into a track meet? A lot of steals, easy buckets. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the Mavericks have the fastest pace in the Sun Belt, and they just won a game at Monroe by forcing a turnover late. I think they were down 4 with like 20 seconds to go, 1-by-1 on a steal late, led to a layup with about 5 seconds to go. And Tim Buckley does a really nice job for, I forget what paper it is, that covers the Raging Cajuns. And I just read an article where he's talking about Louisiana's point guard situation, the fact that they don't really have a true point on the roster, but the guy doing it right now, Brian Au, is a shooter first, and they're telling him to be more aggressive. So from that standpoint, I think this has an opportunity to be a game where UTA sets the pace. It's fast, and the Raging Cajuns go right along with them. So if I'm leaning anywhere, it's going to be on the over. They've got really nice guards, veteran guards, and the Portland transfer Theo Akuba, 11.5 points and 3.5 blocks, averaging a double-double. He could be the difference maker if Louisiana wins on the road.
All right, good stuff there. And, of course, one more game to get to before we get to the best bets here, guys. And it's a game we're looking forward to all week. Had it circled on Saturday, 4 o'clock tomorrow, depending on when you're watching this, in Lubbock, Texas. We're talking Baylor versus Texas Tech. And I'll start with you, Dave. And I mean, listen, Baylor had a game canceled against West Virginia this week. Texas Tech had a win against Texas this week. Baylor maybe a little bit more rested at this point, 3.5 to 4 in some places. How do you have this game here, Dave?
Well, I used Texas Tech against Texas as a best bet. Thrilling finish, got the right side of it. And I thought going into that game that Texas Tech had a bit of a scheduling edge because they were coming off 2 easy games. And to me, it was a situation where you had a great coach like Beard with basically 10 days to game plan for one opponent because Kansas State and Iowa State would just show up and win. And the Texas game was really big. Texas was coming off an absolute war against West Virginia that they won, but it was a phenomenal basketball game. And I thought this is a real edge for Tech. I think the edge here, using that same dynamic as with Baylor. I mean, that was an incredible game that Texas Tech played with Texas the other night. Baylor will have had a full week off, and they're coming off TCU, which they, again, just had to show up and win the game. In fact, they haven't had any real tests. I think Baylor's going to put tremendous emphasis on this game because this game and the game at Kansas to end the season, maybe the West Virginia game as well, but those are their big challenge games coming up. Baylor wants to go unbeaten and get a number 1 seed. I think this is a game they've got circled, and I think they'll win it. The tough part is you're going to have to lay a few points on the road, and I don't like laying points into Texas Tech, so it's probably not going to make my card, but the opinion is the Bears are the right side.
It's, Ralph, I mean, you're looking at a Baylor team. I don't think they've lost since March of 2020. They are rolling. Texas Tech has had some interesting games against ranked opponents here so far this year. Maybe not exactly in the win column, but experience in a big game at home. Who do you give the edge to?
I am going to just double everything Dave said. It really is. It's one of the biggest situational plays of the week. Off that war that Texas Tech was. Yeah, Baylor has Kansas on deck, Dave, and I'll throw in the February 2nd game, Baylor goes to Texas. That's their other big challenge game that they have. So I am really just, Baylor has not been tested. That concerns me a little bit. 11 straight wins by double digits. Yeah, they played a good Illinois team, but they blew them out. Other than that, Oklahoma is the only top 80 team they've played. So that does concern me. I would say this. I have Baylor 7 points better. I have Baylor as the number 1 team. So I have Baylor 7 points better in a neutral. So 4.5 or 5 on the road. The situation has me liking Baylor, but this is one of the rare instances. This line is going to be about 3 or 3.5. And if I were playing Baylor, if I like Baylor enough to play a -3.5, I would still bet a minus the 145 or minus 150. Because this can clearly be a 1 or 2 point game. And when you have the number 3 and number 4 defenses facing it up and you're on the road, I think it's worth laying that extra juice and betting the money line instead of laying it with them, even if you like Baylor minus the points.
It's Baylor's been on top here last 5 times these two teams have played. It's at least 4 out of the 5 times it's gone towards Baylor's way. Tony Mejia, how do you think this is going to play out here? Possibly an under, possibly the home team, Baylor. Where are you going?
Well, you figure Scott Drew has his team ready to play, given the schedule. I mean, you've got at Texas Tech and then right back against Kansas. So if you're not ready to play, you're going to lose one of these games. And they should have fresh legs. They've had 8 games canceled or postponed, including that Gonzaga game that would have been the proving ground. The Illinois game, it was impressive that these gentlemen mentioned, but it was a neutral site game at Bankers Life Fieldhouse. So this is a true road game situation. One of the things I look at is how these teams would match up. And we saw Texas Tech rally against a very athletic Texas team, but the Longhorns aren't terribly big. And Marcus Santos Silva, the VCU transfer, is probably the Red Raiders' top interior player. He might be 6'6". So you've got John Chamwa and Flo Thamba, the two towers that Baylor uses to really impose their will inside around those good guards that they have. From that standpoint, I think the Bears have an advantage if those guys stay out of foul trouble. And we imagine that the pace is going to be low. So if this is a possession by possession game and Baylor can get to the final 5 minutes with those two big guys out of foul trouble, I think it does favor them even on the road. But yeah, certainly the Bears are one of the top teams in America, and Texas Tech really put all their cards on the table in that comeback win over Texas. Mac McClung could be a hot shooter going into this one, but if I'm leaning right now, it would be towards Baylor.
All right, leaning towards
Joe,
Baylor. Yes.
Thank God Tony's with us. For those that watched last year's college basketball tip-off show, we would have OO from USC and RR from another school, and this would certainly be JTT from Baylor. But hey, Tony, what's his name again?
But I'll buy a vowel, Tony. Give me an E, babe. Give me an E.
I'm and John. Come on.
So if it were Joe and I on the show, it would be JTT from Baylor. That's it.
You get the initials. That's all we did. We couldn't pronounce anybody's name last year. It was awful. But thank you very much, Tony Mejia. And guys here, listen, you won't need me to spell it out, but if you head over to WagerTalk.com right now, you can get a 30-day all-access pass to all of these guys. And I think Tony Mejia will even throw in the pronunciations of every name more than 8 letters. He'll go ahead and do that for you. Head over there, $199 right now, 30 days all-access, every NBA, every college basketball play, yours for $199 right now. Hurry up while you can still get that. It's a great deal, 30 days. $199, any of these gentlemen right now, everything basketball. All right, before we get to our best bets of the day, let's bring in our Gold Sheet team play game of the day that they like here, Ralph. And, of course, Ralph, you'll go ahead and post these on your Twitter page. In fact, let me throw up the Twitter handles again if you guys are just joining us and we didn't see it. You guys have an opportunity here to make sure that you are tailing all of these gentlemen here on Twitter, at Mejia Dinero, at Dave Kogan, at Cal Sports LV. And Ralph will have this in case you guys want to check it out and read up on it on his Twitter page. And it looks like, if I'm not mistaken, is it North Alabama? Is that the game that we are looking at here?
Yeah, how about if I just say it's the Lions out of the A-Sun? Does that tell you who it is?
Good.
You know what? That's what I love about the Gold Sheet. You're top 25 teams, power conferences. They cover the entire gamut. You guys know I love these 300-plus teams. North Alabama's not a 300-plus, but Kennesaw State, who they're playing, certainly is. So North Alabama, the Gold Sheet play of the day. I'll post it at Cal Sports LV right after so you can see the new Gold Sheet versions, the write-ups, and all the statistical data it includes.
Wait, I smell. You said number 300, Kennesaw State. Might that be a Ralph Michaels play? Could that be a Ralph Michaels play? Now, Dave Kogan, before we get the best bets, you did mention you had a feeling what 300 team it is that Ralph might be leaning to here. So I'm seeing what his best bet is. What did you think that game would be?
I can't see what his best bet is because I have the screen minimized. But I think it might be Cal Baptist.
Yeah. Ralph?
Nope. Okay, so we are now 4-0 on these 300s. It's number 306, USC Upstate.
Oh,
now they lost to Hampton 69-68 yesterday as a favorite. They have the better offense, 271 to 318. They shot 33% from 2-point range. Hampton shot 57%, a 24% swing from the worst team to the best. Upstate also the better free throw shooting team for the season. They shot 12 of 19. They missed 7 free throws. Hampton, a very poor shooting free throw team, actually was 7 of 7. So this will be a client play as well for me. I will be on USC Upstate minus the 4 against Hampton.
All right, good stuff there. Of course, we'd settle for nothing less there, Ralph. All right, Dave, Talk to us, my friend. Which way are you leaning tonight on the board?
Game we talked about. I like Wisconsin.
Okay.
Look, these spots have worked all year long, taking good teams off bad games, and you can't get much worse than Wisconsin was last time out. And I think they will bounce back against what is still a slumping Rutgers squad. So I'll use Wisconsin for the best bet here in the show.
All right, Wisconsin it is, and Tony Mejia, tough to go against. We've got obviously a couple of top 25 teams, and now Ralph's anything in the 350. Where are you going, my friend? What are you looking at on the card tonight?
Well, Koken texted me before this game. He said, I want more Conference USA because I love that league. It's my birthday week. So I'm going to give him
listen, I mean, I think it's a crappy league. It doesn't mean my best bet tonight is in Conference USA. I just think it's a garbage league, but that doesn't mean there's not good bets in that league.
Good point. Yep, good point.
Well, hopefully this is one I like, and this one's going to be nationally televised. It's Charlotte hosting UAB. Ooh. UAB actually has the best record in that league right now, even though I agree that Western Kentucky and Marshall are the top two teams. But UAB's played, I think they're 7-0 against quad 4 teams, so they haven't really been tested. Charlotte likes to a snail's pace. You know, Ron Sanchez is the coach there. Basically, if you get to 60, that's a high-scoring game for the 49ers. And I think UAB has not been tested at all, so I don't see them really impeding that pace. They have a 7-footer who opened his career at Clemson, and Trey Jameson. He's a really good shot blocker, and they've got senior guards. So I think this is a game that comes down to the wire. I'm actually leaning towards Andy Kennedy's UAB Blazers. It's basically a pick 'em, but the right side in terms of pick-wise is on the under. I really don't think that we see this get over 125, and I think the total is significantly higher than that. So even with the TV stuff, give me UAB and Charlotte going under the posted total.
You know, it's funny you had mentioned that, Tony, because Dave had said before the show he was this close to going with the Chicago Blackhawks Western Kentucky basketball team parlay, but then he decided against it, that he wasn't going to go with either of those two teams.
Don't somebody might believe that. So
nobody's going to believe it. How would they deserve to believe it then?
You never know. It's something I've learned, and I'm not kidding about this. Something I've learned from being on social media over the past few years.
Right.
If you don't tell people you're kidding about something,
right,
they think you're being serious.
Okay, here we go.
It's just a whole new world.
Get a close-up.
It's true.
Get a close-up. Good. I'm kidding. He doesn't play the parlays and doesn't like the Blackhawks. He thinks they suck. All right, I'm going to go Cleveland State here tonight, guys. A team that does not suck. Ralph, I don't know. We were talking about it before. I think Cleveland State, 9.5 points in this game. Wright State has not been great at home this year. So I think they're 2-5 against the number against their last 7 at home. So I think Cleveland State's on fire. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Give me the 9.5 against Wright State here tonight. And here's the recap, guys. There it is. USC Upstate Ralph continuing to roll with those 300s there. -4 tonight. Dave's going to go Wisconsin, -2.5. Good bounce back situation. Tony Mejia loves that Conference USA. He's going to go under tonight at UAB Charlotte, kind of like watching paint. I am going to go with Cleveland State, giving that 9.5. North Alabama versus Kennesaw State is where the gold sheet is lying. And once again, and this is the part where I am not kidding, guys, head over to WagerTalk.com. Dave's got his birthday celebration still available through Sunday. 10 days all access with him for just $68. Use the code LEGEND68 at checkout. That's LEGEND68 at checkout. And you get 10 days every play of Dave. And Ralph and Tony giving you the opportunity to get 30 days basketball, all access. College basketball, NBA, both of them, $199 for 30 days, can be all yours at WagerTalk.com. So, Tony Mejia, appreciate you stepping up, my friend. Ralph Michaels, Dave Koken. We got the NBA show coming your way, the tip-off show here, guys, in just about 20 minutes or so. Hope you'll stick around. If not, on demand, hit that little bell in the upper right-hand corner, hit the like button, and, of course, hit the subscribe button. Come back and join us again on Monday. We'll break down all the weekend's action. Make it a profitable weekend in college basketball, guys. Thanks for stopping by. We'll talk again then.
$9 Mondays over at